The Joe Rogan Experience.
Look at where they were in 2014. Look where they are now with faking the Chris Cuomo thing. It's
Well,
its
do you
natural
think that's
progression.
his idea? The Chris Cuomo thing is pretty gross.
Did you hear what he said on his radio show?
Know what he said?
He said, "I don't find value in what I do. I think it's ridiculous."
He said,
Yeah.
"I don't like what I do for a living. I don't like my occupation."
I think, and then he said something to the effect of, "I'll never beat them," in reference to like Hannity and Maddow or something like that. I think
Beat them?
in ratings, in ratings,
Oh.
he's their biggest show.
He is?
I'm pretty sure Cuomo's their biggest show. Yeah.
He's the only one that seems to be a man.
And he doesn't crack 1 million in the ratings.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 800 to 900. I think he periodically might. The ratings might be going up. I could be wrong, so check the latest stats. But here's what I think happened. I think the CEO producers went to him and said, "Look, man, you got this thing. Like we should run with it. Let's like go to your house. We'll film it. We'll make it this big deal."
You think so?
And I think it wasn't that bad. I think he had mild symptoms. Look, the dude went out. The guy left his home. He was not
even when
quarantined.
he was talking about the issues he was having, he seemed normal.
Right.
Like, here's what I would expect from someone who is as sick as he seemed to be. I don't feel that good, but hey, I'm one of the lucky ones.
No, he seemed totally normal.
Yeah, that's what I would expect. He's saying he's shivering so hard, he's chipping his teeth.
Seems ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't seem... But I don't know. I mean, maybe when it's nighttime and you're tired. Because one of the things I remember last time I was sick was quite a while ago. At the end of the night, I'd be like really achy because I was tired. And as I was tired, my immune system would be depleted, and then I would feel the effects of the cold more. And then you wake up in the morning, you feel a lot better.
Maybe he popped some ibuprofen. I know he was taking Tylenol. So
you're not supposed to take ibuprofen for this for some reason.
Well, he said I think he was taking Tylenol.
My friend Michael Yo said that he was told to take ibuprofen, and when he did, it made it way worse.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, so here's what can I say. I'm not going to accuse the guy. A lot of people are pretending he never even got sick. I don't think that's the case.
He probably got sick. He tested positive, but
right,
I mean,
think
it seemed fairly mild in comparison to other people. Like Michael Yo, when I talked to him, well, first of all, when he was doing a video talking about recovering from it, was coughing.
Yeah.
Even in the video, he was coughing. When he was talking about on Instagram, thanking everybody. But he had a bad case of it where he got pneumonia, and it was rough. And, Michael's a healthy guy, so that was disturbing to me. But the Chris Cuomo version of coronavirus didn't seem that scary.
The dude wasn't quarantined. Okay, he went out to some property 30 minutes from his home, presumably with his family. He was witnessed by somebody else.
You're not supposed to do that, right?
No, you're not. I mean, it's not just that, but on CNN, they said he was locked down.
Right.
They did this whole reveal where he comes out of the basement and said, I've been waiting for this.
Didn't
it was
he
all a
also
lie.
do a TikTok dance with his daughter or something?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think he did.
But I think the reason he went on his show complaining was because
he knew it was coming.
The producers told him to do this fake thing. And he didn't want to do it.
About the tracking, the COVID tracking?
Which is just, it sounds scary to me.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's some NSA shit. That's really scary.
They're going to keep going. This is what things do. If it's your job to try to do something like this, to try to implement something where you can get people to agree to tracking, if it's your job to do that, you're going to keep going.
Yes, you are.
Once you get that tracking, then you're going to want some new shit. Then you want cameras in front of people's houses to see if they really are quarantining. They're doing that in China.
Yes.
This guy just got back from a trip in China. They gave him a 14-day quarantine, and they put a fucking camera right in front of his door.
That's weird.
He's like, whoa, like you're not going anywhere for 14 days, and we're watching you.
It's also strange for people in politics to encourage society to snitch on people. That's weird. That's a level of tracking.
That's our mayor.
I know, but don't you think that's fucking weird and wrong?
It's weird and wrong, but it's even worse if you're offering rewards.
That's
if you're
right.
If you're saying, usually snitches get stitches, but this time they get rewards.
You guys are going to get riches. You know what it is, Joe? Honestly, it's a behavior change. It's a weird step towards this tracking system that's going to be implemented that they're starting to be like, oh, it's okay. We're going to reinforce you guys being stitches. It's snitches. It's fine. Here's a little treat for you. Here's $500 for letting me know that Karen was out not doing the proper protocol.
Meanwhile, there haven't been that many deaths, relatively to what they thought they were going to be. And so that means it's a success. So that means the way it's being implemented so far has been a success. Like, you're going to get more aggressive with it, even though the numbers are way lower than we thought they were going to be?
What are we doing, George?
We're doing the right thing. Understand that it's hard for people. If just, keep an eye on each other. Don't let people do stupid shit. You shouldn't have fucking parties, but you also shouldn't give people rewards to snitch.
No, that's not
Don't have
helping.
one of them house. I saw a house party the other day where people had masks on. So someone put it up on their Instagram. I'm like, this is crazy. It might have been Lil Duval. Lil Duval has the best. He's the best Instagram follow out there.
It's so good. It's so good.
And he posts all day long. He's just getting high and posted. Lil Duval posts the funniest shit. He posts the funniest shit. But
he really does. The house party was packed.
Yeah, it was a packed house party. I think it said something like, if these people ain't dead in 14 days, I'm going to go out.
When I first looked at this and I heard about Wuhan, I heard that there was not a weapons lab maybe, but maybe it's a weapons lab, but at least a lab doing research in infectious diseases a couple miles from these wet markets where they're saying that this thing broke out. There are cases in the former Soviet Union of them doing this research into infectious diseases and weaponizing it and then having it get out because the protocols weren't followed or whatever else, and kills a few people and they hush it because it's 1960 something or 1970 something. So there is precedent, and it wouldn't be beyond the pale to think that someone was doing some sort of research, and it doesn't even have to be weaponization. It can just be they're just studying this infectious disease, not even weaponizing it, and someone contracts it somehow in that lab and then brings it outside.
Yeah, that's the controversial theory. So here's the thing. The controversial experiments in Wuhan Lab suspected of starting the coronavirus pandemic, and says the case against a Wuhan Lab. And so it says why the Wuhan Lab remains a suspect in the coronavirus investigation. I mean, it's really likely that we never really will know.
Right.
But they most certainly were working on viruses similar to this one right there.
The end of this article says there's another one called RATG13, which is very, very similar to the SARS-CoV-2 one that we're experiencing now.
Oh, terrific.
They share 96% of the same genetic material.
Yeah.
Wow. It's thought to be the most similar to SARS-CoV-2 of any known virus. The two share 96% of their genetic material. That 4% gap would still be a formidable gap for animal passage research, says Ralph Barrick, virologist, University of North Carolina, probably in bed with the Russians, who collaborated with, like, when you found out that a Harvard guy got arrested that because he was taking money from Russia, or excuse me, taking money from China because he was doing something with them. Yeah, I mean, it's real spooky. What's really spooky is the World Health Organization is essentially in bed with China.
Yeah.
And they're not giving us 100% clear, detailed information. Everything gets filtered down through the Chinese propaganda system.
Oh, sure.
Very dangerous.
And they also were exceedingly, we don't know the numbers, right? And we can't trust China. But it seems like they were a little more prepared for this than we were with as far as testing kits goes and all that.
Yes.
So if you're doing if there's a lab where you're doing research similar to this close by, there's a history of other countries, maybe even China too, of doing research into infectious diseases, not following protocols that we would here in the United States. They're not all as safe as they are, shocker, here in the United States where we're doing the same type of research. Then it gets out, and then they just happen to have a lot of these kits ready to go for testing. I don't know.
But again, what else are you going to do? So Tiger King killed some time, and then the aftermath of Tiger King killed some more time. But then we still got like 6 more weeks. So what do we do now?
I think we're supposed to be May 15th, right? May 15th is going to end.
I think that's the latest projected date.
But the governor just stopped people from going to parks and beaches.
Well,
that was a new thing today.
Yeah, I think, you know what it is? This is my theory on it. Like, we can't have nice things. You know, whenever they give us something nice, we don't know. You know, like a little kid, give them something nice and they break it. So it's like, okay, we're going to let you go to the beach. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be playing volleyball and laying you're supposed to keep moving, right? You're supposed to like walk or ride a bike or go surf or this or that. But you weren't supposed to just
mingle,
gather in groups. Yeah. And of course, we're gathering groups, we're partying. They're like, all right, no, you can't. You don't know how to behave.
They had specific rules. Like you weren't allowed to stay put. Like you couldn't lean on things, couldn't sit down.
Right, because
you go walk around.
I was riding. I rode my motorcycle along PCH, and you would see people. They'd park their car along PCH, right, and they'd sit on the car and kind of like look at the beach and stuff like that. And so I guess each one of them had a car's distance between them because you're sitting on your car, the next person's sitting on their car. Mm-hmm. But then I passed this Neptune's Net, which is like a big motorcycle hangout. and there were maybe 20 bikes in a row parked, and the guys were all just kind of hanging out. And it was like, no, man, like that, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like a motorcycle is the ultimate social distancing vehicle, right? You're by yourself. You're wearing a jacket, gloves, a helmet. You're not breathing on anybody. Yeah. But when you stop, you can't just all hang out like normal, you know. Right, that was the part that I think that's where they're like, no, we're not going to do it. Because I think, you know, this Georgia and Florida, whatever, it's like they're like the experiment, man. They're like, all right, yeah, let's let them get out, and then let's wait 2 weeks and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
that's exactly what it's like.